Good morning, Professor Malik. It is an honor to meet with you. You are a professional educator and consultant, a graduate of business management from Schiller International University in London. But before that, you were in the engineering and fashion industry. What made you shift your direction?
Morning to you, Ms. Khadeejah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It's nice to talk with you this morning and explain to you quite few important things related to my work and experience, which will certainly give a good idea later on what might come related to my writings and my work. The reason I shifted because my family background back in Jordan, they had manufacturing places, two medium-sized and small-sized factories for producing garments. And my father was in textile business as well, also as he had some construction works and general trading. So it was important for me first to take a foundation in engineering. I was planning to continue with that, but later it was realized that I needed to take also fair knowledge of the textile and manufacturing. So I started first with the South Kent College of Technology in Dover, and then I moved to Teesside Polytechnic, which is now university, and I did the first year of Clothing Footwear Institute, which is basically it's industrial management relating to clothing. And then later on, it was understood that I really needed to do a business administration because it's more of a management, and this is it was an opportunity for me during those years to be aware of latest management works and studies in the UK. And then after that, I did international economics at the same university, postgraduate studies, and also at the University of Salford campus in London. I did the international studies and diplomatic practice. The reason I've done that because of family background, both a combination of interest for business as well as international affairs. So these are the important things, and certainly I realized the benefits of my studies because it helped me to certainly later on become more fruitful and helpful to both in academic and the professional fields.
In the 2000s, you were recognized by the Philippine Consulate in Dubai for your dedication to teach Arabic language in the consulate and provide free consultations to distressed Filipinos. What is your motivation to do what you're doing?
The Memo of Understanding with Polo OA, which is a Filipino organization under the Philippine Consulate arrangement. So the place was at Polo OA first, and then later on when they opened the consulate in Dubai, it was continued from 2003 onwards until 2011-12 at the consulate in Dubai. The reason we took it as a mission because it was realized that offering additional training courses for Kabayans will help them much. First, to understand the culture and for their job prospects and to progress with their day-to-day life. So we took first Arabic language because it was important for any expatriates who moves to Dubai to learn the language and the culture. And then later on, we developed also personality development programs and different courses to meet the requirements of the Filipino communities, whether they were students or executives. So it was allocated first Friday, and then we had sometimes additional days on Thursdays or Mondays as per availability. So we took this, it was realized that there was a need for a community college for Kabayans. And through modest effort and the support and understanding and the cooperation with the consulate, we have achieved a really very much considered as a quality community college. Then later on, of course, we continued with the same work after we opened officially the Share Center for Cultural Understanding and Arts. And certainly the respect and appreciations came from the consulate and also from other international organizations and universities who used to send their representatives and communicate with us and attend our meetings. So it certainly considered as a successful story we have achieved over the years in fulfilling the gaps and where there is a need for certain training and courses and services to help the Kabayans initially, which after that it spread to other nationalities as well from 2007 onwards.
You have been an Earth Charter endorser since the mid-2000s. How did you come to know about the Earth Charter and what caught your interest from it?
Thank you, Khadeejah. This is also another important question. It is very good that you mentioned it during this stage. We had certainly the reference of EC, Earth Charter, and SGI came at the same time. I was approached by some of my students and some executives who came to know about the SGI and mentioned to me that it is certainly in line with our mission, because we are dedicated for more towards humanity, education, and sustainable development and other factors. And since they were involved in my courses, so they recommended that I associate with them. So that's how it started. I was invited to present a lecture on education in 2005. That was held in at the Knowledge Village in Dubai at that time. And then as I went through the recommendations and I looked at the manuals, I found that it is in line with our work and our interest. In fact, in 2001 and 2 and 3, when I used to conduct different courses for students and some children, we made changes into in various ways in those institutions. The changes took place. Why? Because the students, they used to come for a weekend programs and they were having difficulties. So we arranged the classroom sittings, the activities and the programs in a friendly way, which certainly it was helpful for the students and solved many of their personal and educational problems. So we found that it is an important stage to start working independently first to produce a successful cases by teaching smaller group. Some of the groups were 5 to 10 people, which was different from some school classrooms, which sometimes 30, or in many schools they reach sometimes 50 or 60 students in the classroom. So we took a different approach and we found that the students are enjoying their study and progressing. So that's why we adapted Earth Charter as the main approach and methodology, and we customize certainly because of the environment here and because of the different cultures. We understood what are the needs and requirements meeting the people, whether they were from Asia countries or African or Europeans. So we adapted a more of a customized to meet their needs and the requirements, and also towards our, shall we call it, the global citizenship. And then, of course, we continued communicating in whatever way with the Air Charter and offering the students, while they are taking the courses, also training them in a way to adapt the Air Charter policies and practice.
In 2007, you founded Share Center for Cultural Understanding and Arts and had students from over 60 nationalities. What are some programs you conducted, and how were they related to the mission of the Earth Charter and education for sustainable development?
In 2007, we were fortunate to find a place. It was designed to be a college, but it was not fully utilized. There were some centers they used to book and use some of the classrooms, and under the agreement with the owner of the premises, we were given permission to conduct our programs. It started first, the programs with Arabic language, because it was important. And certainly, later on, we included cultural understanding, because from the way I was brought up and traveled into different countries in Europe and in the UK particularly, it was important for us as students at that time to visit the different cultural activities, museums, exhibitions, and to understand life in the UK at that time. So we found that the students here, they need to understand the same thing. So it was for us considered as a community college. Why? Because of the variety of courses. So we had the Arabic language, we have a weekend program for the children from schools who are having difficulties in some subjects. We also developed the preschooling program, which was also equally successful. We arranged also arts. Students used to take also adapt other skills like plantation, healthy food, healthy cooking, various sport activities for the children, a weekend program for parents, outdoor activities. So we fulfilled the gap where the community was missing and the students have difficulties. So we made always assessment for the students, language-wise, communication-wise, communication skills, and of course later on, certainly how to advise them for further education. So counseling was always important for us to offer to students and parents, and also advising them later on for further studies, which I will be explaining it later on in other writings, why it was important to do that. Because many students and executives who come to the country, they have a particular degree, but they don't utilize it. They work in a different field. So you have an engineer or even doctor, and they work in sales. That's how it is. So we realized that there is something we can do. So it was very much considered also as a clinic in a way. Students with difficulties, or handicapped in some way, we offer them counseling in cooperation with other specialists, whether it's a medical or a physiotherapy or perhaps psychological support from other experts. So we moved to the, once we have received the permission, we worked on that and we coordinated with the other organization to make sure that it's fully understood. Now, so the air chart applications were injected in our day-to-day activities, and the students were involved sometimes in plantations. We used to take them to the farms and visit the farms and be involved in some activities. Also close to the animals, whether it was horse riding or other activities where we felt that certainly students can benefit. So these were some of the work we included in our services, and also inject fun and turning certain skills, practice and experience into a daily habit. For example, save water, save electricity, utilize the balcony of the house or the garden and do plantations. So also to avoid waste, and activities with some other organization relating to health and to relating to environment issues. We encouraged the students and we participated with them in these events, which was very important. Also relating to art, because as you know, Khadeejah, art is very important. So we used it and we included different arts projects, so the students have benefited from that. And later on, of course, we moved to other projects. For example, which also I would be glad to discuss further on that, which is we included also cooperation with other organizations, for example, to teach AutoCAD, graphic designing, photography, and some other skills. And the students have benefited. In fact, some of them, they used to have a full-time work. Later on, they turned into freelancing, and they were earning much more, and they were happy, and they producing good work. Artwork, also calligraphy, the Arabic calligraphy. Some students, we directed them how to use Arabic writing, and later on they developed the skills of Arabic calligraphy, and they participate now in international exhibitions, and they are happy because, of course, they are earning money and they are benefiting. So that is important. So all these things collectively, certainly, it brings us to the core fundamental that we wanted to make sure that the people are happy with what they are doing and they are benefiting. That's how they look at it. Relating to air charter, certainly it hasn't been very much known here in the Gulf, the Arab countries in general. But gradually now, through our students, they are becoming aware of it. But mostly, always they will refer to that it is only relating to recycling. We tell them that it is to adapt the holistic principles in one's life, to apply it, and this, of course, can be taught by first to be educated and to practice it and to be involved with that. Also, during the training programs which I'm conducting for corporates, I used to highlight these important things and explain that it is important for corporates to inject various principles and to encourage employees to be involved in health issues. Also the teachers. I used to have different training program for teachers. So at the end of the training program, I included also the main outline, the mission of Air Charter, and what things to be included in teaching. Certainly, the main difficulties we had is sometimes that their work involvement. So the people are having difficulty sometimes to apply certain works if they are working in companies, because of the company has to understand that. The company directors have to appreciate and give them some considerations, which include sometimes to have an open discussions, or perhaps to be involved in some weekend activities, which they are restricted because of the working environment here in the Gulf. So that's why we stress that the corporate also have to be involved. So we made our center was taking the approach right from the beginning, whether it's a student, whether it's a preschooling, or the students who come during the weekend, or the executives who come for part-time courses, or later on for in-company training. And of course, at some of the events or lecture where I conducted in Dubai, then certainly also we managed to, shall we say, squeeze some of the points during our meetings.
In your work as an educator and volunteer promoting the Earth Charter principles and sustainable development goals, have you encountered any obstacle, and how did you cope with it?
Now the obstacles first, I will mention first one by one, and then how we managed to solve these problems. First, relating to the education part, we found that it is very important for parents to cooperate with us to achieve our goals. Because the parents sometimes, because of their different culture or different education background, they have been taught in a particular way. So when we make some recommendation for students, for example, to be involved in some workshops or to attend some weekend programs, sometimes the parents, they have their own reasons. For example, they are working during the weekends. So the work environment here in the Gulf, particularly in UAE, that they work 2 shifts. So the only break time sometimes for the parents is from 2 to 4, or sometimes they have only 1 hour. So it left us little possibility for the children to enjoy and to be active during the weekends. Also, the parents sometimes they are interested only in the school grades, so that the child only is categorized successful if his grade is high. And when we talked about the Air Charter or things relating to environment and some of the activities which is important for the child to learn, we found that the parents, they have objection that we want our child only to progress well with other subjects like math, science, computers, and other subjects, to make sure that he is completing his schooling with high grades, so that he will get permission, admitted to universities if he or she wants to study medicine or engineering or other subjects. So these are some of the problems. Now, how we manage to convince that? By showing the importance, why it is important for the students to adapt the Air Charter principle. And also, when they see the successful stories, then the parents become motivated. Also, I managed to convince the parents because when I conduct training program or corporates at their offices or at the hotels, the parents, those executives, they realize the benefits. And this well appreciated by the companies who requested me to conduct a training program. So the companies offer training program for their staff, whether it was language-wise or communication skills or other subject which I provided. Then I injected my methodology and it was appreciated. So the parents start contacting me, bringing their children to our community center. Now, this is how we managed to overcome this problem with the students. Now, other problems also sometimes arise when we pass some recommendation for relating to the children. So the people here, the majority, they prefer if the child is only successful at school. Now, some of the children later on, even after completing their schooling, they went to universities and they have difficulties and they haven't made exactly the expected progress their parents expected. Other things also, because the people here, the majority are expatriates. So they think that this is not their permanent places, even though they stay here for many years. So they especially from the subcontinent, other places, they feel that whatever relating to environment or cleanness or perhaps reuse, recycle, other subject, this is the duty of the municipality and the department. But that is not actually should be the case. It's everybody's responsibility to be involved. So we had this certainly misunderstanding, and we tried to certainly to overcome all of this. Certainly over there has been some improvement, and we can see that. And this I will present it in various other documentary relating to recycling and reuse. But certainly there is still much awareness has to be, and this brings us to the need that the parents, they need to adapt certain things relating to the environment and to turn it into a daily practice, not just occasional or because it is risky or there is a fine if they dispose some material outside, but it should be really from within. So these are some of the problems. There are certainly some other problems which we managed to overcome, but I think considering the time you allow me, Khadeejah, these are some of them. Yes.
From your experience applying the Earth Charter principles, how did you develop your work throughout these years?
Our work and commitment. Our center was not primarily teaching or conducting Earth Charter course, but we adapted the methodology and the principles, and we injected it at every stage. First, we start with the family. My family and I, we adapted completely everything relating to saving water, saving electricity, recycling, the use, and the other approaches which we found that it is not difficult to do. The initial stage, maybe sometimes it is not easy, but after certainly, when the person becomes systematically involved in something daily, and he found that it is not taking much time or effort, it is part of his daily habits. Secondly, we pass it to our students. As I mentioned, the recommendation was passed through the students during their classes. So we asked them, for example, I will give you an example. When we moved to the center in 2007 and 8, particularly when we start having more students, other centers which is using next to our premises, the students were wasting water and so many things, which is really not in line with the basic principle, even cleanliness. So it took us several months to coordinate with the other teachers and to convince them that they have to make changes. So this is one thing. The other thing is we introduced the practice to our executives, so that during the meeting, when we had, for example, parents meeting, which is usually every 3 and 6 months, we had parents meeting, in addition to the individual counseling. So when the students register or the executives, we used to spend more time to understand him or her and to highlight the importance for adapting new things in one time. And that was very much appreciated by our students. And that's why the center was called Share Center for Culture, Understanding and Arts. And I would like to mention here, even the name Share was suggested by our student executives, German and French, who were attending our programs, and they suggested that since you are sharing your knowledge and experience, then we would like to call it Share. So because that's how it should be, share knowledge. So Share Center for Cultural Understanding, because the main problem was it's actually the culture. It is not actually certain beliefs. People follow their culture more than any other things. So we wanted to understand and to let the people understand that we have in the city, we have so many nationalities, we have different cultures. We need to understand each one's culture and what things unite us, and what are some of the things which is we need to adapt. So the Earth Charter principle has to be, since it is working in most countries and it can be applied, and it is with the common sense, so it is not against somebody's culture. It is in law. But the people sometimes they act in a particular way and use the wrong way to say, well, this is my culture. So it is not rejecting their culture, it is making sure that it is to convince the other people that it's also part of your culture to protect the earth. And arts, of course, because arts, of course, it helps a lot in solving personal problems, expressions, and also dedications, and to appreciate the beauty of this earth. Unless a person appreciates art, how can he or she appreciate the earth? It's both combination, earth and art together. So these are some of the things. Now later on we became a little bit more in 2000 more focused, so that we start because that's the option, the majority. So we had during the 80s, 2008, 9, 10, we had usually in a week 50 to 100 people, and then by 2011 we reached very much between 800 to 1,000 people really during Fridays, which is considering the community size and the premises we have, it was a lot. So they used to attend different programs, but also we injected cultural understanding, language, and Arabic language. Of course, it's a beautiful language, and they are learning, they are benefiting, and successful words coming out of our students. And of course, telling them about the Earth Charter, and of course, the daily practice. One needs to adapt plantations. So our students, they certainly have carried this mission to their families, and the parents discuss and they explain it's a nice work to do, and let us progress with them. They missed that. They didn't have these activities. So whatever activities we had in our center, very much it was scarce. They didn't have it at the So these are some things. And of course, we progress later into the teaching, because that is the work we have done with the teachers. We advise them, but also the teachers explain to us that they have so many models, so many work to do, so many papers to check, that there is a very little time. That's why the next step we hope is present the necessary material. And this, which I mentioned in my message now for Earth Charter 2022, is really the Earth subject has to be taught right from the beginning, from grade 1 onwards, and to include certainly Earth Charter principles. This is what certainly we hope means. Because education and adapting it, and making sure that it is not conflicting with their cultures. Because people sometimes a little bit of hard-headed, that's why, sorry, I am used to this way. But we need to understand that we are right now living globally as an international community, and we have to understand and respect each other. Yes.
What direction do you see our world currently going, and how important are the Earth Charter principles today?
Yes. Certainly from 2019 to 2020, with the epidemic COVID and what followed after that, it has been a really interesting lessons for us to learn, that we are passing through a new history. I would like to call it a new history because we are turning into a new age now. Age of, sadly, more violence, more war, more practice and trying to practice other, whether it's biological or chemical or whatever other conventional words, which is harmful for Earth, harmful for people. So the role of Earth Charter will be, it is in line with United Nations principles, and it is certainly for the past 20 years it has proven that it is in line with all countries' concerns, needs and demands, because we have experienced it. We checked with our students from almost every part of the world. They tell us they are happy with that, but some of the things they cannot apply it because of the working environment, or because of their personal problem, or because of their educational background, or their commitment. So the other thing we need to focus on, so Earth Charter role has to be moving forwards towards, shall we call it, and I mentioned it in previous writing, that it is like an international schooling. It's additional curriculum to be adapted. Okay? So this has to be modified and understood and adapted by schools in a way. With us, of course, we'll pass recommendation as we have experienced it in the Middle East here, particularly the Gulf, and with different nationalities. The other thing is to focus more on values and ethics, because one cannot place a policeman to guard each one that he or she is doing the right thing. We found the majority of our students are women and ladies. So women certainly they have a greater role to play. Therefore, we need to focus on educating women, because women are the mothers and they are the ones who will teach. The students, we found that they are successful and they adapt to good work because they have been taught by their mothers, firstly, and the support with the father, and they progress. One cannot rely just on the school, because now for the majority of the students, the school for them it's two things. Either the place to obtain some information and knowledge, and to build association and have activities and fun and work and play with other children. So that is their main concern. But the basic principle, ethics and values, first it has to be well understood and appreciated and applied by the parents and the mothers in particular. And of course, the roles of church leaders and the mosques, all those people, they have to be educated in a way how to teach the good values and ethics. So combination or the work together with Earth Charter and having always ethics and values are the main pillars. With this, we can see that the future will be much better. We see that the generation are adapting good habits, because sadly nowadays, especially with the IT, it is used in a way also negatively, much way. So the students are busy with PlayStation and games and other subjects which is harmful for them and depriving them from other fundamental things, even caring for their own selves, their own hygienic, their own healthy cooking, their own healthy awareness, their environment. So we find difficulties with students who are only caring just to play the games and they don't care about cleaning their surroundings or protecting themselves from damages or harmful items. So Earth Charter, ethics and values, these are the three things have to work together and in line with respect to each one's cultural difference. Thank you, Khadeejah, for the invitation, and I look forward for future events also, so that we can exchange and pass our knowledge and experience to students, researchers, organizations, universities, and best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Malik, for your time and for this opportunity to meet with you and interview you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shukran.